Today, I'd like us to dive deep into one of the biggest questions in academia right now. How do AI detectors like turn it in really work? And in a world where AI humanizers and paraphrasers are everywhere, can you actually surpass them? Let's be clear, this is not about cheating. I'm not in any way promoting cheating. So if you use any of the knowledge here to cheat, I am not responsible. This video is about understanding the technology that is grading your work. So first, forget everything you know about plagiarism detectors. Old school Turnitin checked your text against a database of existing sources. So whatever you've written is always being cross-checked with existing sources online. AI detection is kind of different. AI detection is not looking for copied content. It's actually running a sort of stylistic analysis. It's asking only one question. Does this text read like it was written by a human being or by a statistical model? And this is a bit complex in a way because it boils down to two technical concepts. Two technical concepts known as perplexity and bustiness. Perplexity is more like a measure of unpredictability. So if an AI model is given the phrase, for example, the cat sat on the, it is statistically very likely to choose something like the mat or the floor. A human being might write something like the comfy rag or the mattress or just a random thing. But human language is surprising and is low probability. You can't really detect it that way because you don't know what is going on in someone's mind. AI text, on the other hand, especially from these previous models, usually has higher probability and therefore has what we call low perplexity because it is clearly predictable. AI text is predictable. Bustiness, on the other hand, refers to the variation in the sentence structure and the length. The writing of human beings is always in a rhythm. We sometimes use long, complex sentences filled with clauses and even followed by some short, punchy ones. When you are trying to explain something, sometimes you can say a whole lot of nothing to even reach the point. You beat around the bush. That is mostly how human speech is. The AI writing, on the other hand, is often rhythmic in a certain way. It's uniform. The sentences tend to have a consistent and predictable structure and length. And this actually creates a flat robotic rhythm because it's always going one way. It's like a robot, it's always going one way. What it has been taught, that is what it's going to use. So talking about 10 AI detector and others like that, they are actually trained on millions of human written and AI written samples. They've learned this as sort of like fingerprints. So when your paper is submitted, it is being analyzed for these specific statistical properties that it has been trained on. So the first thing students try is the built-in paraphrasing tools like Quillbot and Grammarly. You take the AI text, you hit paraphrase, and you think you are done. But I don't think that is actually enough. Definitely, it's not enough. Basic paraphrasing tools often just swap synonyms. They just change the words to the nearest related word. For example, they can change something like utilize to use and something like consequently to as a result of. But they often leave the underlying sentence structure completely intact. Remember I said something about pestiness. If the original AI text had 5 sentences all following a similar pattern, like for example, the subject, verb, and object, the paraphrase version will likely keep the same uniform pattern. The detector, which is the AI detector, can still see this robotic pattern underneath the new vocabulary that you've swapped. Then we also have these AI humanizers, which are like sort of next level. So here we are using AI to fight AI. This is where dedicated AI humanizers or tools for bypassing AI text come in. Tools like undetectable AI, stealth writer, and the recent ones that I posted on my page. These tools don't just paraphrase. They are specifically designed to attack the detector's model. They sort of work in reverse. They are also trained on the same principles as the detectors. They take your AI text and actively increase its perplexity and bustiness. They introduce more human-like randomness. You get it? And this They sort of vary the sentence length and the structure and use less predictable word choices. And yes, in many cases, especially as of right now, they can work. They can successfully lower the AI detection score. But this is also where we are going to enter the danger zone. And there's a critical part nobody talks about. It's like an active cat and mouse game. Because the moment a new humanizer tool gains popularity, very, very popular, and students are saying, oh, this actually works better, companies like Turn It In do something very smart because they are also in business. They want to keep the integrity and also get more customers. They acquire these new AI humanizer tools that have been gaining popularity and they run thousands of documents through it. They train their new detection model again to recognize the fingerprints of this new AI humanizer itself. So what fools AI detector today might be its primary targets tomorrow. There are definitely no guarantees. A document that scores 0% AI today might score something like 90% AI after Turnitin has pushed a new update after training data on it. And then there's another cost to all this, which I will call it the quality degradation. When you use these heavy handed tools, the output often becomes sort of weird. The language can become repetitive and even nonsensical because it focuses and forces in some sort of unpredictability. You might sort of bypass the AI detector, but you hand in a paper that reads like it was written by some confused alien. It doesn't have a soul. And this is usually going to be a red flag for your professor because you traded an AI detection problem for a failing grade on clarity and coherence. Fine, you've passed the AI detection, but your sentence structure and the meaning in your text doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. So usually that's why they require human beings to still read even after they've paraphrased their tools. So if paraphrasing tools are weak and AI humanizers are risky, temporary solution, what actually works? The answer is sort of manual intelligent rewriting. Even after you've gotten your results from a paraphrased text, you should use manual intelligent rewriting. You use the AI generated text as a draft or a source of ideas, but you put it through your own human intelligence filter. So, how do you do that? Number one, change the sentence structure or architecture. Don't just swap words. Break long sentences into short ones. Combine short sentences into sort of a complex structure. You can change the voice from a passive voice to also an active voice. Then the second thing you can also do is to inject personal voice and contractions. If AI is formal, you should be informal. For example, for example, if something says in my experience, you can say I believe, or we can see that. Use contractions like don't and it's. This is sort of like a human signature. It's usually human beings. We use a lot of short form words. And then you can also introduce minor errors. This might actually sound crazy, but humans actually make tiny grammatical acceptable errors. I'm not saying having a perfect sentence structure is sort of like a red flag, but I'm just saying human beings are often prone to making tiny grammatical errors which are often acceptable. You can start a sentence with and or but. So a perfectly clean text itself is a potential red flag. So you can start a sentence with and or but. Stuff like that could work. Then the fourth thing you can also do is you can add context and sort of anecdotes. AI can't replicate your personal life. AI can also not replicate like your sense of humor. So you can weave in a tiny relevant story or specific example from your own understanding. This sort of embeds human DNA into the text. You get it? Then what else can you do? You can also read your text out aloud. If it sounds like a boring textbook or a corporate workplace memo, then it still has the AI vibe. However, if it sounds like something you would actually say, then you're on the right track. So sometimes you can evaluate the text that has been paraphrased using your ears. Uh-huh. So at the end of the day, what is the takeaway from this video? Can you surpass AI detectors? Technically, yes for now, with advanced methods, of course. But you are sort of engaging in high stakes game if you are just going to accept what they do without giving in your human input. So, like I said again, the most foolproof, sustainable, and ethically sound strategy is to stop trying to fool the system and start using AI within the system. So, use AI guided by human intelligence to still fool these AI detectors. Use it like that. Don't just give everything to the AI and just go away. So even if you use any humanizer tool, please go through to see if it makes sense. I sort of used one during my time, and I used and it's changed population with persons. So the population size of this community, it changed it to the person size, which was not the actual term fit for what I was doing. So if I hadn't read through and I just placed it in the Turnitin detector like that to submit to my professor, I would have been in huge trouble. Been in huge trouble. So at the end of the day, your human perspective is the one thing no AI can ever replicate. And no detector can ever flag your human perspective. So focus on that and you will have to never worry about any algorithm grabbing you again. All the best in your academic writing. Bye.